Hi, welcome back to Appropriations 101, where we are talking with the cardinals of the subcommittees, the 12 subcommittees that make up the discretionary part of the federal budget. And again, I would remind everyone that that's only about 28% of the money that the federal government spends. Most of it is on the mandatory side, as we said here in some of our rhetoric behind us, that it is mandatory spending that is 72% of the budget and is actually driving the budget deficit and stuff. So while we have to control the discretionary budget that the Appropriations Committee appropriates money for, we have to also address the part on mandatory spending if we're ever going to get the federal budget under control. But there's one of the subcommittees that we haven't talked to the cardinal of that committee on. We've done 11 of them. We've got 12. We got one left, the 12th, and that's me. I am the chairman of the Interior and Related Agencies Appropriations Committee, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what we fund. Obviously, the Department of Interior, and these are agencies, frankly, that are very important to western states like Idaho. Idaho is 64% federal land. That means the Bureau of Land Management, the Forest Service, Fish and Wildlife Service, the National Park Service, all control some parts of Idaho, and that's about 64%. That means only 36% of the land in Idaho can be taxed, which is different than most eastern states or states that don't have that much public land. So obviously, the things we fund in Interior, the Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, the wildfire funding that we do with the wildfires that have been active in the West for a number of years. We do the USGS, which does mapping across the United States. It's very important for our state and for other agencies. We also do some fun things. When it says this is Interior and Related Agencies, some of the related agencies are the Smithsonian. If you come out here and go to the Smithsonian Museum here in Washington, we fund those museums and so forth, and it's at no cost to the entrance for visitors that come out to visit those. We do the Kennedy Center, we do the National Gallery of Art, a lot of those types of things, and some other agencies that people might have a problem with. The EPA is under our budget, and that's always come under some criticism because of the rules and so forth that the EPA puts out there. Those are the challenges in our budget, but I will tell you the biggest challenge we face. In a decreasing budget, the Interior Appropriation Bill counts for about 2.3% of all the discretionary spending. That's about 0.5% of the overall federal budget, 0.5%. And as I said, all of those things that are important to us get funded under that. And so in a decreasing budget, we have areas in our budget that have to be increased. Indian Health Services. We also do the BIA. We fund Indian Health Services, Indian Law Enforcement and Justice Services, Indian Education. We have a trust and moral responsibility to our Native American brothers and sisters. Taking care of their health issues is a big thing. So even in a decreasing budget like last year, our budget went up $1.8 billion for Indian Health Services. We have to do the same thing for Indian justice and law enforcement. We lose about 6,000 indigenous women and children that are murdered and missing on our reservations across America, and that's unacceptable. So we have to increase funding for those programs. The other things, we have to pay our wildfire fighters, and we have to pay them a salary that can attract them and keep them fighting these wildfires in the western United States and all over the country, really. So that was an increase in funding, and the other increase in funding is the PILT payments. That states that are public land states, we have payment in lieu of taxes, and that's important to states like Idaho. As I said, that you can only tax a third of the land there, and that keeps going up every year. So those are things that we have to increase in our reduced overall budget. That means there's other agencies that are going to be significantly reduced, more than some people would like. But that's what this appropriations process is all about. It's making choices and setting priorities. And that's what we have to do, and we'll continue to do that and still maintain our public lands, our national monuments, our national parks, other things that are very important to the American people. That's the interior bill, a rough overview of it. Now that we've had all 12 cardinals talk about their bill and what's in their bill, as we continue on this program of Appropriations 101, I next want to get into a little bit about the difference between mandatory spending and discretionary spending, and how each are growing, and what we might, or at least how the mandatory spending is growing, and how we might be able to address that, and some of the ideas that are out there. Some I might agree with, some I might not agree with, but we have to address that. And then in future podcasts, we'll put out talking with organizations like Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget that has ideas of things that we can do to reduce the debt and deficit, because ultimately what the Appropriations Committee is concerned about is not only getting our job done on time, but also heading our budget in the right direction so that we can get rid of this debt and deficit that we are heaping on our children. So thank you all for being here today. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode.